Time to get that box off. Gotta make it so it doesn't fall on me though when I'm doing it. I think I got some. What the? Oh, I see what they did. Yeah, that's a good one. They welded it right to the frame. One thing you gotta remember when you're doing this is keep your mouth closed.
You don't like eating hot slag?
That's right. All right. There's been a bunch of stuff welded to this frame. What the? Oh, emergency brake cables.
I wonder what that hanger's for.
PTO.
Okay.
PTO winch.
Oh yeah. And the shaft is there? With the output for it?
What is that? That's weird looking.
Is it just a cap over the
Some kind of a breather.
Oh yeah?
I'll have to look at that. I just saw those were a little loose. Oh, they cut that frame there.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they cut it with a torch. Maybe they tried to straighten it. This emergency brake is not going to work. Definitely not. I'll have to free that up. Yeah, I'll strip down the rest of this stuff. Cut the U-bolts. I'll prop the axles in place. Yeah, prop the diffs up so they don't flop over.
I don't know if that's a big enough diff though.
That's one big diff. Like seriously huge.
And a tiny little drive shaft actually.
That's as big as they need to be. Like I've bought some high performance drive shafts for super powered off-road and they're smaller than those.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
But were they turning meat like this?
Oh.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
44-inch with 800 horsepower. Like it's
Yeah, this is only 85 horse to start with anyway.
Tom's drive shafts or whatever it is. Well, that's for something. I don't know what.
Why do you say that?
Does anybody know what that's for? It's there. Mounts onto there like that. Oh, that's an exhaust hanger. Maybe? I don't know. This back cross member, it needs to be cut. This needs to be cut off. So this whole thing will move. Ooh.
Cherry red and beat her back to shape.
I'm just wondering, maybe just make a whole new one. Get it bent up. Could do that easy enough. A lot easier than trying to do something with that one. Replace these gudgeons or whatever you call them, gussets. Yeah. Yeah, take her out, sandblast it, and then do that. Yep, that emergency brake's not going to work either, that cable. So we'll pop off this clutch brake pedal assembly. Get out of there. It's my magic spring puller. Magical it is, but that's the clutch and brake pedal return spring, or clutch I should say. Got that. Still got green paint on it. Amazing this stuff still comes out. The old lad I was talking to, I said, that owns one of these trucks. I was at a wrecking yard the other day, an old wrecking yard. I don't think they've brought a new vehicle in there since the 80s. and he's got all these old vehicles, pretty cool. It's up by Renfrew. And the old lad had one of these trucks sitting there that his dad bought right after the war. And I said, I can't believe how good the metal is in this. And he said, well, you know, I drove that truck for about 15 years, dropping pulpwood off to go on the train. And every night when I'd get back, because there's no heater in it, there's, you know, the pedal area was full of snow and ice. So I'd just go into the shed, take a bag of salt, take a few handfuls, chuck all the salt right around the pedals. And the next morning, I'd get out to the truck and everything was good to go. No more stuff there. And he said, and he still has the truck. He said, you go and look in it, it's not that rusty. Yeah, pretty crazy. That's the master cylinder. I disconnected most of that. Delco, made in Canada. The boot's a little worn. All we have to do is replace that boot. She's probably good to go.
Good to go.
Listen to that.
It might actually be.
I'll pull that apart later and look at it. When I cut the line, fluid came out of it. Fluid poured out. That'll be another video. Well, that's keyed.
That makes sense.
Well, sometimes they're splined. There we go. That's what happens when you grease your stuff. It's still good.
50 years later.
More than that, isn't it?
60.
70, 80 years?
What is it, a 44?
I think it's like earlier than that. She's such a mess. Simon used to come and help. Don't see much of Simon anymore. He's gone. Where's everybody going? That's all good. Everybody's got lives to live. So we took off a whole bunch of stuff that were parts and pieces that were sort of mounted to the frame on here. We took off the knee shocks. That's what these are right here. I think that's what they call them. So they're like a torsion in the arm kind of thing, or they're a hydraulic shock, you might call them. I don't know. I don't know the exact terminology behind it, but it's pretty simple.
Like a dampener.
It's like a damper, but I guess there's just fluid in there, and it just bypasses a valve slowly to do its job, just like that. They still seem to be working. There's one missing on the front, and the other front one didn't work, or doesn't work. But the two rear ones do, so that's pretty good. Probably reuse those. But now we're getting this frame tidied up, and next thing we're gonna do, I'm waiting for my distributor and a whole bunch of other engine things to come in, and they should be in soon. And as soon as they're in, we're gonna fire that up. Now I'll just fire it up in the frame. I'll disconnect all the drive shafts, fire it up in the frame, and see how she runs, and then we'll tear the motor and the tranny and the transfer out, and then the frame, and then we'll pop the frame off, and I'll get new springs made for it. And while the frame's off, I'll sandblast it and start on the build up of the stuff. We'll get the frame done, the chassis, rolling chassis, and then we'll start on the body work. Still looking for parts. Yeah, looking for body panels and seats and all that kind of stuff. So if you guys know anybody in your area, let me know, because we got to get this thing going. Got to get her on the road. It's kind of cool like that. It's kind of Mad Max like, don't you think? I found a couple other ones. You know what I'm like, boys. You know what I'm like. I might buy them. I think the Power Mods Army needs a fleet. Hey Jimmy, what do you think?
Yeah, about 5 or 6. I don't know.
5 or 6. The other one I found is a pretty cool one. I want to find one of the big truck, full size, the 60 cubic weight. They've got the 44-inch tires on them. And they're good for hauling big loads like snowmobiles. But I mentioned on here that I want to put my jet engine on there just to haul it around if I need to move it, or just to drive it out to fire it up out there to melt something. And somebody said, there were no jet engines on these trucks. Well, there were. there was, and I found a picture of it, there was a jet engine on one of these trucks. It was used in the 50, 52, 56 Olympics. I think that's what it was. They had it on the back with a funnel that blew down onto the ground, so they'd use it to melt the snow on the track wherever the event was, if they needed to. So there has been, it was a Rolls-Royce Goblin turbine, very similar to that, and maybe a little louder, which is hard to believe. So it's been done before. Yeah. What do you think, Jamie? Not looking too bad?
No, looks like it's done a bit.
Right on.
Used to be a truck there, now there's a turn.
Yep. All right, well, let's shut her down. This tire's not going to make it. I don't think there's another retread left in that one. Thanks for coming as usual. Stay tuned. We're going to make this thing a beast. Now I'm just going to give her a quick clean up around here.